All right, so we're supposed to simplify the radical, so basically keep it in a radical form. So best things first is we really should probably factor this. So let's just go to the basics. Let's do the factor tree, clear down to the primes, and we'll go from there. So that's going to be 2, and that's going to be what? 54. And so then after that, we're going to have 6 times 9, and that's going to be 2 times 3, and that's going to be 3 times 3. So we have really a 2 squared and a 3 cubed. And so now we have to simplify that, and we're doing the cubed root of it. Well, if we take all that to the 1/3 power, what do we get? Well, we're going to get the 3's are going to cancel here. 3 times 1/3 is going to be just 1. So we're just going to have a 3. And then after that, we're going to have basically we have what, a 4 here, and so it's going to be cubed root of 4. Okay, and so we keep our power here, our unit, the cubed root, and then just 2 times 2 is 4, and so we just go ahead and multiply it back out, and that's going to be our simplified form. I mean, we could put 2 squared here, but then they didn't have it factored here, so we should probably not factor it at this point here. What about this one? All right, so here, thinking about this, we're going to have 24, so that's going to be what, 2 and 12. That's going to be 3 and 4, and that's going to be 2 and 2. Okay, so that's going to be 2 cubed times 3. Then we'll have an x to the 10th and a y to the 11th. And let's call this one, we can pull out the negative out here. So we'll have a negative out in front of that. And this is all to the 1/3 power. Okay, so when we do this, 3 times 1/3 is going to be 1. So that's going to be a -2. And then what we have here is we're going to have still going to have a cubed root of 3. So let's put our cubed root here. We'll hopefully leave enough space in here. So we'll have a 3. And then x is going to be 10 thirds. Well, 10 thirds, how is that going to be breaking that down? Well, 3 of them is going to give us that, and then we're going to have a third left over. So that means we're going to have x to the third out in front here, and there's still going to be an x to the first, or just an x in the middle. So, this was x to the 10 thirds, so there's going to be an x to the third and x to the 1/3, because if we break this apart, we could really say that that's x to the 9/3, and then x to the 1/3. And so 9 plus 1 is 10, so that gives us that, and 9 divided by 3 is 3. So that's how we're breaking it down. So how are we going to break down the y to the 11th? And that's actually 11 thirds. Well, let's do the same thing here. We'll have y to the 9/3, and then that's going to be times a y to the what? Well, that's going to be 9, 2/3. So this is again y to the third, y to the 2/3. So that y to the third we can bring out in front. And what's left in here is just y to the 2/3. The third is here, so it's just going to be a y squared. Okay. And we still have our negative out in front. So then that is going to be our solution. Okay, so we have to kind of think about breaking each piece down, doing what we need to do with our radicals to rational expressions, and then simplifying them down until we can get something that we can pull out anything that's out in front, and then what's left over is what's underneath. So we don't want anything that has a number greater than 3 left under our radical sign. All right, so let's stop there. We'll come back for some more.